Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Beared Down Uncut, the show where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, we are back breaking down some Davante Adams to the Bears rumors. There are a little bit of murmurs that the Bears are going to aim to make an attempt to sign Adams in 2022 free agency. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on how realistic this is today, as well as whether or not the Bears should try and sign the best receiver in the league. Welcome back to the show, guys. Feels good to be doing this again consistently. Not essentially every day like I'd like it to be, but I want to get you guys a couple of videos a week. As you can see, I'm doing this on my own today, but I am going to try with my co-hosts to try and bring you guys the best and most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web throughout the offseason, throughout the 2022 regular season as well. So wherever you may be listening right now, if you want the best Bears coverage on the web, do us a favor, go down to the link or go down to the description wherever you may be listening, drop a like, subscribe, follow, and we're going to keep bringing you Bears coverage all off season. Welcome back to the Bear Down podcast, though. I am your host, Chris Maltby, today talking about a discussion that a lot of Bears fans thought was going to be happening for a while, with things kind of unraveling in Green Bay right now. Don't want to get too far ahead of myself, though, because obviously, we don't know what's going to happen in Green Bay. The season didn't end how they wanted. It seems like things could be heading south, though. But yeah, it's been a pretty good week. Couple days off from videos. Wearing my Bulls shirt. It's been a little bit of a tough stretch for them right now, but hopefully they can get healthy and turn things on. And hopefully the Bears can turn things on moving forward. So let's hop right into this video. Davante Adams. As we know, everything that's panning out in Green Bay right now, coming into this season, they thought it was going to be the last dance there if they weren't able to win a title. They were knocked out in the NFC divisional round against the San Francisco 49ers. But Davante Adams easily has cemented himself, in my opinion, as the best wide receiver in all of football throughout these last couple of years. Just this past season, he's coming off a year where he had 123 receptions for over 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns, 18 touchdowns in 2020, 13 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, 2016 through 2018. He might be one of the best free agents to ever enter free agency and field offers in these next, in quite some time. So, there's rumors around the league right now, and there's belief that the Bears may make a play for Adams next month when the offseason begins in March. And obviously, the connection, now we know, is, nothing's never predictable in the NFL, but the driving force behind this movement is said to be the Bears hiring new offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, who is said to have had a good relationship with Adams. A Sports Mockery article by Eric Lambert came out earlier saying that Getsy had a really good relationship with Davante Adams, and Adams was the first one that he told when he took the offensive coordinator position in Chicago. So small murmurs right now about this, but I wanted to break it down a little bit for you guys. Let's start with this question that I have on the screen, and I'll read it out to you guys who are not listening in on YouTube. Is signing Davante Adams realistic? I don't think it's realistic. I also don't think it's unrealistic. I think anything can be expected in the NFL, but taking a look at the Bears situation right now, I'm going to lead towards it being quite unrealistic that it happens. I think he'd be a great fit in the Bears offense, and I'll get to that in a second, but I don't think it's the most realistic thing of all time. If you take a look at Chicago's current cap situation entering the new league year in 2022, they are going to be $50 million above the cap space. Not only are they going to have to try and sign a plethora of free agents, cut down a lot of players to get that number down below the cap space number, which I can't think of off the top of my head, but Adams is demanding somewhere around $30 million a year. This isn't an Allen Robinson situation where he wants $20 million a year and the Bears aren't willing to pay it. This is a hefty penny for the best wide receiver in the league. I personally do not think it's too realistic that the Bears try and field Davante Adams or try and sign him. I think it would be absolutely crazy if he goes from seemingly having it all for himself in Green Bay to things falling apart and somehow ended up in Chicago with Justin Fields. as cool as I think it would be and as much fun as I think it would be with the price tag he has and the Bears' current cap situation, I just don't see it as totally realistic. But let's talk about if these rumors are a little bit true or hold something to themselves. Because obviously the Bears will be looking for a wide receiver one this offseason with Allen Robinson seemingly parting ways with the franchise. Let's talk about if Adams will be a good fit in the Bears offense. And I mean, Davante Adams would be a good fit in all 32 offenses in the NFL. We saw him absolutely go nuclear in Green Bay these last couple of seasons with Aaron Rodgers. He does basically anything you'd want him to do incredibly well. He's good, short, intermediate, and deep down the field. Some incredible route running and great hands. He's the best wide receiver in the league. I will once again continue to say this. Maybe doesn't have that breakaway speed, but continues to play at a high level, is great at the point of contact, and continues to put up ridiculous numbers. I mean, coming off of a year where he had almost 13 yards per catch, that's the second highest mark in his career. He's averaging 12.1 yards per catch throughout his career, and we saw Green Bay continuously force feed him all season. So I believe he would fit really well in this Bears offense. The Bears obviously are a team that are looking for a solidified wide receiver one in this league. I think they have a good number two down with Darnell Mooney. They've got some more growth coming at the tight end position with people like Cole Kmet, a pretty solid backfield right now with David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert returning. We'll see what happens with Damian Williams, but I think they have good weapons all around. Obviously, Chicago has to primarily focus on that offensive line this offseason as well, which goes back to why I'm saying that it's unrealistic that this happens. You know, there's other spots where the Bears have to allocate money when you break it down. And I don't know if they'll be able to pay $30 million for a wide receiver, but if they could somehow clear up the cap space, the Bears would have their clear-cut number one guy. I think Justin Fields would have a lot of fun, and he would make quite the tandem with Darnell Mooney. So it should be interesting to see how it plays out if Davante Adams even reaches free agency and how things continue to pan out in Green Bay. Let's talk about whether or not I think the Bears should try and make this happen, though. Personally, I'm going to go ahead and maybe this isn't the popular opinion, but I'm going to say no. I don't think Chicago should try and make this signing happen as much as a lot of people would want to see it happen. A lot of the wide receivers in this free agency class come with a lot of talent that could come at a cheaper price point. Guys like Chris Godwin, guys like Michael Gallup, guys like, even though I don't want him, Juju Smith-Schuster, guys like DJ Chark. Allen Robinson seemingly has regressed a big way this last season, and it seems like he isn't going to be in Chicago next year. And I know that Davante Adams is the only proven really commodity in this free agency class, because Godwin's coming off of an injury, Gallup's coming off of an injury, even guys like Smith-Schuster are coming off of an injury. But I think the Bears have a lot of other places where they can look to add depth at the wide receiver position, and the rest of the free agency class provides a lot of that. I think it'd be a lot more realistic if the Bears went after someone like a Godwin, maybe like a Gallup. I know they're all both coming off of big ACL injuries, but I remember back just a couple of years ago in 2017 when the Bears went after Robinson, he was coming off of his ACL tear. So there's no real guarantee in this class outside of Davante Adams. But I do believe that it makes sense to allocate money elsewhere if you're Ryan Poles. He's someone who came in recently hired as general manager and said that he wants to build from the ground up, allocate money properly, build through the draft, evaluate new talent. And it seems like spending $30 million on someone as talented as Davante Adams isn't really following that path. I don't think Chicago's in a spot where they're going to have to rebuild. I really do think they have the quarterback down with Justin Fields. I think they have a couple of other pieces they need to address, especially on the offensive side of the ball, especially on that offensive side, or that offensive line, excuse me. But getting a wide receiver one is going to be important for Chicago this offseason. They have the 39th overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft. They're going to have a lot of options that they can look at. And I think as much as I would like it to happen, as cool as it would be to have Davante Adams in Chicago, the Bears can go about this a much smarter way, save themselves some money to put somewhere else, and end up reaping the benefits of having a better offense overall instead of bringing in one marquee player. Let me know down in the comments, wherever you guys may be listening, if you want the Bears to sign Davante Adams this offseason. Even though I probably didn't say the popular opinion there, it would be really cool if it happened. He's the best wide receiver in the league, and I'll continue to say that regardless of where he ends up. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this brand new episode of Uncut. We're trying to bring you guys the most comprehensive Bears coverage on the web this offseason throughout the entirety of 2022. So wherever you may be listening, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you want more Bears content, hopefully each and every day of the week, if not consistently throughout the week, do us a favor, drop a like, subscribe, follow, and we're going to be bringing you guys Bears coverage as much as possible. If you want more content from us, head to our website, beareddown.com. We're going to get fired up once again. Columns, articles, and blogs from people that work with us. Head to our website. The link is down in the description to find more from us. If you'd like to find the podcast on Instagram or Twitter, you can find it on both platforms at Beared Down. It's a great way to interact with us and continue to see what we've got going on. We also talk to some special guests and announce them on our social media and do giveaways every so often. So head over to our social media to be sure to stay in the loop on everything that is going on here. And finally, you can find the links to my personal social media pages down in the description, my Instagram as well as my Twitter page. You can see my thoughts on all things Bears. It's another great way to interact with me. And you can also see my thoughts on all things NFL as well as the entirety of Chicago sports. If I had to leave with any words today, because normally at this point in the podcast, I would say, what are your last words to my co-hosts? I think I would leave you with this. I am really happy for Lovie Smith again, someone who grew up watching him coach the Bears. I don't know if he essentially deserved another shot being a head coach in this league, but I am really happy for him. A little bit disappointed that the Texans didn't end up going with Josh McCown, but I really hope they can bring him in on Lovie's staff because I truly do believe with the resume that he has, the amount of time he spent under different great coaches, he could make for a great coach himself one day in this league. So interesting things going on down there in Houston. Pep Hamilton's also going to be sticking around there, promoted to their offensive coordinator. So a lot of interesting things going on in terms of former Bears staff members, but Lovie Smith will get another opportunity, and I hope he can right the ship down there in Houston with a lot of drama going on right now surrounding Deshaun Watson and stuff. So guys, it's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Maltby. I'm so excited to see how the rest of this Bears offseason pans out. Excited to bring you guys coverage. So once again, drop a like, subscribe, follow wherever you may be listening. We're going to bring you as much content as we can on a weekly basis, covering everything free agency, draft, player evaluation that comes to the Chicago Bears training camp, everything up and through the rest of the 2022 season. I'm really looking forward to it. And that is pretty much it for us, guys. As always, do me a favor and stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.